Hello everyone, my name is Jeff Rolka. Thank you for checking out my video. This is by request. Some singing agility practices. We have a few new exercises in here. We're going to work our way into it slowly. Agility exercises are best done somewhat on the faster side, but we're going to ease into it with some really fun stuff that I have found and had the pleasure of using. I want to give a big thank you to my Patreon supporters, without whom this would not be possible. And with all that, let's get started. To begin with, humming. You could also do this with a lip trill if you like. Very straightforward. Now, that might be good for altos, tenors, maybe baritones too. Mezzos and sopranos, you might start there. Ready? And... Now we're going to work our way back down, but I'm going to play it up an octave for our mezzo and soprano friends, and the rest of you can practice singing down an octave. And... Now we could really do this with any vowel we like. I'm going to suggest we do it with E. And again, whichever octave suits you best. And... Moving right along, we're going to start with the lip trill. Again, lower voices here, higher voices here. I nearly forgot that I have a second camera, so you can follow along with this. We're going to start with the lip trill, though. And I'll play this in two hands. And... Now starting back down where we began, E, A, ah. E, A, ah. And I'm going to play that there. And E, A, O. But I'll play it here for our higher voiced friends, and you just sing down an octave if that suits you. And now this is one of my favorite exercises. You see, the thing about agility is it's really about balance, about having the appropriate balance of subglottic air pressure, or support if you like, and the vocal fold adduction or closure of the vocal folds. When they're working together, then we've only got enough muscle engagement as we really need to produce the pitch. We've got just the right amount of airflow, and so everything is just as open and loose as it can be while still producing the correct pitch. And so we have the greatest flexibility, the greatest agility. And this exercise I find to be really helpful for that. Sounds like this. He, 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 Now you should be able to hear those short little sips of air between the notes of the arpeggio. I am doing that intentionally audibly so that you know where they are. It should be very metronomical. In actual practice, we want to try and take those breaths as loosely and with as much release as possible. So if I were practicing this as opposed to demonstrating it, then it would sound like this. I'm still taking the breaths. I don't know if you can hear them or not, but that is what I would like you to work towards in your practice. We are going to start here. Again, if it suits you, you can start there. Now we're going to work our way down, but I'm going to play it up here. And sing down an octave if that's too high. Now let's do one more round, but this time we're going to put a vowel switch in there. So it sounds like this. Starting there. And coming down, again sing the appropriate octave, so higher voices, lower voices, 2, ready, and... All right, carrying on. Again, we're now going to start here. You might start here. Mezzos and sopranos, this is a great time to work on that transition across the primo passaggio, getting out of the thyroarytenoid dominant singing voice into the middle voice ranges. Everyone else, it's a good, comfortable range. Baritones, bass baritones, you probably will get into the zona di passaggio and secondo passaggio. E and A with the trill exercise sounds like this. And again, you might start here, you might start there. You can follow along on the piano if you like. And Next up is A and Ah. Same pattern. Starting back down at C major. And a similar exercise, moving on to A and O. This is going to be one that starts in a good place for altos, tenors, baritones. You're going to get into the secondo passaggio again, sopranos and mezzos. You could really go either way. You could do a few key areas with a lip trill and then jump in, or you could work it up an octave and hop down to work on the primo passaggio, or if you stay up the octave, then you can work on your secondo passaggio as well. A and O. A, O, A, O. Goes to the second scale degree instead of the seventh there at the beginning. Starting right there. And Ah and O. Ah and O. Ah. Starting right there. And finally, we have an exercise that spans one octave. I'm going to go from fairly low to fairly high. It never pays to try to go too high too soon in these exercises, because what you're going to inadvertently do is increase the muscle engagement around the vocal fold, and that is going to prevent you from being as agile as you could. The exercise sounds like this. You can really use any vowels or combinations of things. We can start with a lip trill. It's probably a good place to start. Spans a ninth. Let's begin right there. Lip trill. And you might start here. Start there. Not sure about that, but you never know. And now let's go back and do the same pattern with E and A. Sounds like this. E, A. Alternate back and forth between E and A. Starting there in B major. And there you go. As always, I hope this helps. The key to agility is flexibility and balance between the muscle engagement around the vocal fold and the air pressure, subglottic air pressure below the epiglottis, if you like. Those are the elements that you have to work with in order to have a really facile, agile delivery of your vocal mechanism. All of these exercises are perhaps a little bit on the slow side from what would really be the goal in terms of agility practices, but it's a good place to start. And with the magic of YouTube, if you use a little gear, you can even bump up the delivery speed ever so slightly, and it will maintain the appropriate key, and you can do them all a little bit faster than this. That being said, a lot of these exercises are done in 16th notes and are already fast enough for most practical applications. If you have any questions or comments or something that I've missed, please let me know about it in the comments below. And until next time, I will say thank you very, very much. Thank you one last time to my Patreon supporters. I really appreciate the support. Thank you if you've chosen to subscribe. Have a lovely day. Take really good care of your voices. Enjoy singing, and hopefully we'll see you again. Bye.